Thanks for joining me. This is Danny and welcome back to my Real Tech series. Today we're going to play with Steve's carts. We're going to set up a fairly simple tree farm just to get started, and then we'll see how much time we have left after that to get into some more interesting stuff. To get into the Steve's Carts mod, we are going to need a lot of iron. We're going to need some diamonds. We're going to need a bunch of redstone and a bunch of stone. So it's mostly just vanilla stuff. So theoretically, you could play Steve's Carts in an almost entirely vanilla pack. It's pretty nice that way. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is make a cart assembler. So 4 stone, 3 iron, and then 8. So 11 iron, 8 redstone, and 2 gold. So 11 iron, 8 redstone, 2 gold, and a bunch of stone. I think it was it just 4 stone? I can't remember. I already forgot. Oh, whoop. Okay, so we can do 2 of these right away. And ta-da! There's our cart assembler, and this guy does not require any RF or anything. We can just set it down. And what the heck? Okay, anyway. So here's our cart assembler, and this is what we're going to use to make our custom carts. What's really great about Steve's Carts, if you haven't played with it before, this is, if you didn't know already, it's been around for quite a long time. So if you've played with this in the last few years, probably since 1.7.10 I think, not much has changed. So it still works fairly the same. We've got our cart assembler that's going to, where we're going to put all the different components to put together basically a custom minecart. And we have to start with a hull. So there's several different types of hulls that we can make. We've got our wooden hull, which is obviously going to be the cheapest hull. It's just made of wood and wood wheels. And then we have our standard hull. Now we're going to need a lot of iron for this one, and this is probably what we're going to make today. Now the difference between the hulls is the modular capacity, the complexity cap, and the max number of engines and the max add-ons. Now as we can see, the wooden hull has a modular capacity of 50 and a modular complexity cap of 15. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a whole bunch of these little bits and pieces, and we're going to be putting them together to make a cart. And each one of the pieces, like for instance, the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a woodcutter cart. And the basic woodcutter, as we can see, has a modular cost of 34. And that's actually going to end up being one of our most expensive pieces today, because we are going to need a lot of diamonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diamonds. But if I remember correctly, this thing lasts for quite a while, so we shouldn't have to worry too much. And we're going to need a lot of redstone, a lot of iron. Like I said, we're going to need a lot of those 3 resources in this mod. Each piece that we're going to add to it has a certain modular cost. Because we're going with a standard hull, we have a modular capacity of 200, so all the parts that we put in there can only add up to 200 modular cost. So for instance, the advanced shooter, we could put 4 of those in there. Well, if we were to put 4 of those in there, that would max out our modular cost, our modular capacity. The complexity cap means that we cannot have any particular piece that has a complexity greater than that cap. We might still have some modular capacity left, but if the item that we want to add to it is too complex for that piece, like for instance, I think it was one of the storage units. The modular cost of the extracting chests is 75, because our modular complexity cap is 50, so we wouldn't be able to put that in the standard hull. But we could put it in the reinforced hull. Now the reinforced hull is extremely expensive. We are not going to be making this today because I do not have the resources for this yet, but we would need reinforced metal for that, which is made from smelting stabilized metal, which is made from a bunch of iron, some hardened mesh, iron bars, and this raw hardener, diamonds, obsidian. It's pretty expensive. And then, yeah, we have all these refined hardening. So we're talking several diamonds per piece of stabilized metal. So what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diamonds and 28 obsidian. So we're definitely not going to be doing that. So if we want to make this entire reinforced, we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, 6, 7 of those reinforced metals. So yeah, we're not going to do that today, but at some point in the future we will, I'm sure. And then we have the mechanical pig. And then, of course, we have the creative hull, which we cannot craft, and the Galgadorian hull, which is the top tier. I don't know that we will ever need this. But as you can see, it is quite expensive. But it has a modular capacity of 1,000. So you could do a lot of stuff with a single cart. You could have one cart just going around doing all kinds of automation for you, which could be interesting. Okay, I turned the air conditioning off. So let's get started with this, with the standard hull. So, oh. All right, there's our hull. So this hull, I don't even think we can set it down in the world, but whatever. We're going to put that in here. And then these slots open up, showing us how many slots we can have. So when there's nothing in there, all the slots are closed. When we put this cart in there, the slots that are available to us are open. So we can do 3 engines, we can do 1 tool, we can do all the attachments, we can do all the storage, and we can do up to 6 add-ons. What we're going to do for our first project today is we're going to do the drill. I mean, not the drill. That's going to be our next project. We're going to do a woodcutter, and we're going to do the basic because the hard end is quite expensive, and we'll get to that later, so maybe someday. So we have to make a bunch of these saw blades. So we're going to need 7 diamonds. Wait, was it 5 or 7? It's 5. So 5 saw blades. That's gonna be our most expensive part today. And then a bunch of these PCBs. Okay, so there's our wood cutting core. Now the last time I played with Steve's carts, I had auto crafting. So we can put that there and it'll put it in our tools. So each machine or each hull can have a single tool, and in this case our tool is going to be the basic wood cutter, which will essentially turn this thing into a tree farm. It will allow us to plant trees and pick them up, obviously, to cut them. And then we want some inventory. So we have lots of different storage options, and they go on different parts of the cart. So if we have our side chests, which obviously go on the sides of the cart. If we put side chests on, we won't be able to put anything else on the sides of the cart. Like, for instance, we wouldn't be able to put on the side tanks or the side tanks. We can only have one thing on the sides. We have the top chest, which goes on the top. We wouldn't be able to put anything else on the top if we do that. We are going to be putting something else on the top, so we're not going to do that. We have the front chest. Again, we can't put anything else on the front. And then we have the internal storage, which actually doesn't occupy any sides. But as you can see, the modular cost is much higher. And we will also find that as we're adding stuff to this, the more complex it is, the longer it's going to take. We are already... Wow, we're already up to 9 minutes and 50 seconds. So later on, we'll be able to upgrade this thing to make it faster, but when we're starting out, man, it's really cold. Oh, and it's raining. When we're starting out, our recipes are going to be really, really slow. So we're going to set this thing, we're going to get this thing started, and then we're going to go off and set our rails down and kind of set up the environment. So we're going to need 4 huge chest panes, 2 larges, and 2 just small ones. So we're going to need a lot of wood. What do we have the most of? We have a lot of oak. But of course, you know, we're making a tree farm, so... So we're going to need 1, 2, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 8, 10, and then each of these needs 9. So 9 is 4, 36. So 46. We're going to need 46 chest panes. Holy shoot. Okay, but this makes 32. So we're actually just going to need 2 sets of chest panes. Actually, that's not too bad. Alright, so there's our side chests. You know what, we actually only need 1 set of chests. Let's just do the side chests. We're up to 9 minutes and 52 seconds. And then I want to have a smelter. I actually want an advanced smelter. I hope we can afford this, because the advanced smelter is going to allow us... The smelter basically smelts things. It's a furnace. It's basically a furnace inside the cart. And the regular smelter, like the non-advanced, will just smelt things. It'll grab whatever you tell it to grab, and then it'll just put it back in the inventory. What I want to do is I want to smelt things to put into our coal engine, so that it's completely self-sufficient. Okay, so there's our advanced smelter. Look at that. We just went from 10 minutes to 25. That's the one thing I actually don't like about this mod is the whole waiting game thing. I'm not a big fan of the waiting game. It doesn't really make things more fun or interesting, but whatever. We work with what we've got. And other than that, I guess it's worth it. It's a pretty cool mod otherwise. Yes. Now, of course, we need engines in order to power this thing. So my plan is to have 2 engines. I want one solar engine, probably the cheapest one. Yeah, that's probably going to be sufficient. So we're going to need another PCB and then some glowstone. Huh? Oh my god, I'm out of gold. Okay, I'll just have to smelt some up. Hooray! Alright, so that's one engine, and we're also going to give it a coal engine, because this engine will only run, it will only provide power when the sun is out, and when it has access to the sky. So like when it's under a tree that it's mining or whatever, it's not going to get power, and we don't want it running out of power, because then it'll just sit there. So now we can get a coal engine, and I'm actually going to do the tiny coal engine. I think that's going to be sufficient for us. See, it's 5 iron, that's 2 iron. How am I doing with iron? I'm not doing very well at all with iron. Oh my gosh. This mod is totally eating up my iron. I may have to do a little bit of mining before the end of this. Alright, there's our coal engine. I don't think we're going to need any attachments. But we do need to give this guy some fuel, and that would be coal or charcoal or whatever. So it ate that up. We had 54. Okay, we're done. So now we just click assemble cart, and then we wait 26 minutes. It's going to burn up some coal. And there's our progress. And then while we're waiting for that, we can do lots of things because we've got lots of time. But the first thing I want to do is I want to make a cargo manager. So this is what the cart's going to use to... Oh boy, we're going to need a lot of iron. I'm going to have to do some mining. But the cargo manager is what we're going to use to manage cargo. That's where it's going to pick things up and drop things off and that kind of thing. So some time has passed. I was out mining. I got a bunch of iron, a bunch of other stuff, and our cart is done. Hooray! But we still need a few other things now. So we need the cargo manager again. So we're still going to need a bunch of iron plates. So similar to the other thing, we've got, oh, and we need one large dynamic plate too. So we're going to need, yeah, I have redstone. Okay. So I think I'm going to put the tree farm out here, kind of far away so that it doesn't lag us too much, because tree farms can be a little bit laggy sometimes. So we're going to have to clear away some of this garbage. Take our cargo manager, and I'm going to put it kind of central. Well, actually, I'll put it kind of on the edge of where our tree farm is going to be. It'll be right about there. And we're going to put detector rails. You may notice I'm kind of cold right now. I went in the puddle of water inside right by the air conditioner. It made me very cold. So I should be able to stay out here for quite a while, except that it's getting to be nighttime. So I actually want these to be about two empty spaces in the middle here. I'm just going to make a large loop. Well, not actually, kind of a smallish loop, I suppose. I'm going to clear out the grass 1 block away, because it's going to plant trees 1 block on each side of the track. That's funny, sometimes I can see myself in the sleeping bag, but not always. Whoa, holy crap. Morning leg. We have a green side, we have the blue side, we We have a green side, we have a yellow side, and we have a red side. We have our detector rails on the blue side and the yellow side. You know what? We only need one of these now that I think about it. In fact, let's whoa. Why is that so hard to pick up? I don't know what the right tool is for that, but it seems like no matter what I use, it's hard to pick up. Weird. Okay. Whatever. I'm going to put it on this side. And we don't really need this. Okay, so we're on the red side. So all we really have to do is tell this guy on the red side, we are going to take our cargo. We can toggle through here. Change part of the cart currently railers. We can tell it what part of the cart to change. These are all the different potential parts. What we want is the cargo. Engine, railers, storage slots. So storage slots, and then we click on this arrow until it's facing the cargo. So we're telling this guy to take the inventory from the storage slots of our cart and put it into the cargo manager. And that's all we really need to do with this thing, because the cart itself is going to be almost entirely self-sufficient. So when we place this thing down, there it is. It's got all of our, you can see all the pieces. And actually, let's disable this engine, so it doesn't, otherwise it's actually going to start moving on us right away. We can see all our pieces. There's our solar panel on the top. There's our side little inventory things. And there is our drill, or our wood cutter. We can give the wood cutter our saplings. And we can tell our advanced smelter that we want it to take oak wood, and it's going to make charcoal out of it. Now, because we have the advanced smelter, we have these options down here where we can say, change the output location. So the default output location is the chests. So it would smelt our oak wood into charcoal, and then it would put it in the side chest. And then what would happen is, once it passes our cargo manager, it would, probably move out of the way there. It would just drop it off in the cargo. But we don't want charcoal from this. We just want trees. So the reason we have our advanced smelter is for our coal engine. So we can tell this guy, we want you to take the output of your advanced smelter and we want you to put it in the engine. So you can see our engine has no fuel right now. In fact, we might not even need to well, I'll give it a little fuel just to get started. But what we want to do is we want this engine to be our highest priority. We want our coal engine to be lower priority. That way, it will always use solar power when it's available. So you can see it's got its solar panels out right now. But we will see when one of these trees grows. I almost want to put some other thing here so that we don't end up with trees over here, actually. Let's do that. Oh, actually, I didn't. Okay, I don't want the tree here. I'm pretty sure it's not going to try to plant trees there, but just in case. I just don't want trees growing on us while we're working here. So it's just going around in a circle, and then every time it hits here, it stops, and it says, okay, do I have anything? No. It tries to dump its cargo in here. But if we were to like put something, oh, it got too far away from me. Actually, let's bone meal. Bone meal a tree? Yeah, let's go bone meal. Let's go get some bone meal. Whoa, whoa! One just grew naturally. So we can see it's cutting down the trees. Hooray! And it takes the leaves first, so that you don't end up with it dropping saplings and all that. And now, if we look over here, we should see that it's dropping off apples. What? That's all it got? Oh, because it put the rest of, it's smelting the rest of it right now. So that means we're getting more charcoal in here, and it is using power to produce the charcoal. The solar engine isn't quite keeping up. You can see it's running out of power frequently. But actually, let's cut this tree down. One more thing I want to do to kind of finalize the tree farm is I want to grab a detector station. This is, as you just saw, it's another PCB, a PCB inside here, and these materials. So not terribly expensive. What this guy does is it allows us to specify some logic that will allow the train to pass over or allow the cart to pass over an advanced detector rail or not to pass over an advanced detector rail. So the detector rail is going to solve a problem that we haven't run into yet, but we most certainly will at some point. And that problem is that eventually this inventory is going to fill up, and actually we can change this to just have a shared inventory so that it can fill up this entire inventory. But sooner or later this inventory is going to fill up, and the minecart will not have any place to put the trees. And what will happen then is it will continue running around in circles, it will continue cutting down trees, and based on my testing, it's just going to void the stuff that it picks up. So of course we don't want that, and the main reason, I mean, that wouldn't be a big deal, right? Because, you know, obviously if this thing is completely full, we're probably okay with our trees and such. But wow, I'm lagging so bad. Cut down one stupid tree. But the real problem with letting it do that is that our woodcutter has durability, and it requires diamonds to repair. Now we can see this thing's been running for quite a while, and we saw how much wood we have in the chest. And we still have this much durability left, but we don't want this thing to just keep running forever, because it'll run out of, I mean, because it's diamonds, man. So whatever, yeah. So that's what so this is what we're gonna do to solve that little problem. First of all, I'm gonna cut this guy off. Actually, let him drop off his cargo, and then oh crap. And then I'm gonna make a big mess. We'll just put it in here with all the stuff. Okay. So what I'm going to do is right after the detector rail, that detector rail, I'm going to put another detector rail right here, but I'm going to put it on top of the detector station. And this, by the way, is an advanced detector rail, and the advanced detector rail from Steve's Carts basically stops the cart until it's done. If you put it next to a cargo manager, it stops the cart until it's done. Doing whatever operations we've told it that we're going to do, which in this case is emptying the cart into the cargo manager. What this detector rail is going to do, because we're placing it on top of a detector... What? Why is that saying detector manager? Oh, okay, it says, Wayla says it's detector manager, but this is a detector station. So when we place this guy on top of a detector station, what? Oh, it's not going to do the curve? Okay, whatever. I guess, man, these things are hard to break. I guess we'll put it right there. It says detector manager in my inventory too. But you saw me craft it, right? I mean, I crafted a detector station, not a detector manager. Detector manager is a completely different thing, but it has similar functionality. So we're going to put the detector rail there. We have to shift click, and then we'll just put a regular rail there. And then what we're going to do, the detector station allows us to specify some logic that has to pass in order for the cart to pass. So if this logic that we specify evaluates to false, the cart is just going to stop, and it's going to wait here until it evaluates to true. So the logic that I'm going to be using is quite simple, and that is We can look at modules that the cart has. We can look at the states of different things in the cart, and we can also specify a flow. In this case, all we're doing is we want to say, is the storage completely empty? That's it. Is the storage completely empty? If the storage is completely empty, the cart will move on. If it's not completely empty, that means that this thing must be full. So it has some stuff, it tried to drop it off in here, and it couldn't accept it because it's full. And then it's just going to stop here and forever until we come back and manually take it out, which is fine because right now this is, we are manually coming out here to get our stuff. We don't really have any good item transfer right now set up. So that's the way this is going to work out. So once this thing is completely full, the cart's just going to stop. And that's perfectly fine. Uh-oh, I think I have it facing the wrong way. Now it's important that we face this cart in the right direction. Just for demonstration purposes, let's do this. Let's make it so that it only has that little bit of inventory, and then let's just fill it up. With stuff that it can't stack into. I just crafted another detector station and it changed it to a detector manager. Alright, this time it worked. It stops here, turns off the engines because there's items in the side chest and it didn't have anywhere to put them in here. So actually, let's just clean this up. And yeah, get that out of there. Now if we take this out, it'll start moving again, as we can see. So there's our demonstration of what's going to happen. We have a completely self-sustaining tree farm, hooray! And it's actually kind of fun to watch too, as long as you're kind of far away. Otherwise, if you get too close, you get lag. But Steve's Carts is a pretty fun mod to play with. It's a little bit more difficult than some of the other mods, and the blocks are expensive, and and it does have its share of limitations, but it is definitely fun to play with and fun to watch. So, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you have any comments or suggestions or whatever, you can leave those as well. I do enjoy chatting with you guys, and of course, if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Thanks for watching. Hooray!